नमस्कार दोस्तों और जय हिंद। आप सभी को स्वागत है इन माय चैनल 1971 वॉर बुक सीरीज। तो दोस्तों, टुडे वी विल नॉट बी टॉकिंग अबाउट द 1971 वॉर, लेकिन कुछ चीजें जो हाल ही में हो रहा है इन बांग्लादेश, जिसका ताल्लुकात 1971 वॉर के साथ है, आज हम उसके बारे में बात करेंगे। आई थिंक आप सभी को पता है कि बांग्लादेश में हो रहे थे जो स्टूडेंट प्रोटेस्ट रिगार्डिंग द कोटा मूवमेंट had eventually led to the toppling of the Sheikh Hasina government. At present, an interim government is there operating in Bangladesh, and situations, as you know, are not very good in Bangladesh as of now. तो 1971 के साथ ये प्रोटेस्ट का क्या कनेक्शन है और इसका ताल्लुकात और इस मूवमेंट में इन्वॉल्व होने वाले एलिमेंट्स, ये सब क्या है और इस सब के पीछे either was anybody involved or not, any foreign forces, anything, उसके बारे में हम आज जानेंगे directly from Lieutenant Imran Chowdhury, British Empire Medal. Lieutenant Imran Chowdhury had been in our program for some time now. He had been attending all these webinars with Indian Armed Forces people, including himself talking about his own experiences as a refugee in the 1971 war. He comes from a family in Brahmanbaria town in Bangladesh, and his father, Subedar Major Fazlul Haq Chowdhury, was actually serving in the 3rd wing of the East Pakistan Rifles during the 1971 war, जहां से वो खुद रिवोल्ट करके, डिफेक्ट करके पाकिस्तानी फौज के खिलाफ हथियार उठाए थे आफ्टर पाकिस्तानी फौज commenced Operation Searchlight on the innocent Bengali people in East Pakistan. उनके भाई भी मिस्टर बाबुल चौधरी had also joined the freedom fighters and had taken up arms, लेकिन unfortunately his brother had passed away, but his father had managed to survive the war. His brother was brutally tortured and killed. Mr. Imran Chowdhury, he was also a refugee with the rest of his family and had lived in India till the end of the war, and had also later joined the Bangladesh army after the liberation of Bangladesh, but he had served there up till the rank of a lieutenant, later immigrating to the UK, and after staying there for some time, he was also awarded the British Empire Medal from the British government. So let's welcome Mr. Imran Chowdhury to our program today to talk about his own analysis regarding the situations that led to the entire present condition of Bangladesh right now, and anything beyond and above that has a lot of things to do with the 1971 war itself and leading to a complete abolition of the history of the 1971 war in Bangladesh. आज हम उनके साथ ये डिस्कस करने वाले हैं.
So sir, I had a question regarding the entire situation in Bangladesh, as we have witnessed it, of course, from outside, that the entire population of Bangladesh, alongside mostly the students, they were pretty much agitated with the last government that was there in Bangladesh, headed by the Awami League and Sheikh Hasina. So we had noticed that people were very angry and agitated against the government because of the entire quota system that was prevailing in the country at that time. Mostly the government supported it very much, and it was, what I can say, mostly given to, and the reservation was mostly for the families of freedom fighters of the 1971 war. And there have been a lot of politics behind it, which is up to the Bangladeshi people and the Bangladeshi government. Later on, as we have seen, that the entire student protest revolted and revolved into something else, which was followed with the toppling of the Sheikh Hasina government, the entire last government that we had seen in Bangladesh, and leading to the destruction of anything regarding the 1971 war. The statues of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman were destroyed, and even if we don't consider him as a very huge part of 1971 war, I would say that he was one small part of it. Even if we consider it like that, then the entire statues, murals all over Bangladesh were selected and destroyed one by one, as we have seen in the videos and reels that were coming out from the country at that time. So, what is your, analysis and comment regarding this entire thing that happened in the country at that time? It's like a wiping away or eraser of 1971 war itself, and which seems very concerning.
Thank you, Devuduti. It's a pleasure to be here with you and talk about the scenarios and the events that has unfolded in the shores of Bangladesh within the last month or so. It is actually quite disturbing, and it has really pained me a lot. Of course, in a democracy, protests are a part of a democracy.
Absolutely.
Uh, yeah, and the government, incumbent who are in power always face democratic protests from opposition or from students all over the world. This is part of this is the very essence of democracy.
Right.
But what has disturbed me is that the quota system, yes, as you mentioned, is for the families of the freedom fighters and their descendants. But this could have been resolved in a very democratic way. But I think behind all of it, quota was the perhaps tipping of the iceberg, but there was a hidden agenda of it, and the ultimate mission was to topple Sheikh Hasina by a very uh, orchestrated, vested group who wanted to obliterate the status quo and literally take the country to a different course where it would be heading perhaps to an unknown destiny. Now, the destinations, I don't know where it's going. But all I know is I have seen world politics since the age of 11 when I was a refugee in India in 1971. My connection with the geopolitics and world uh, revolution, world independence movement, various ideological movements. I had the opportunity to actually know about it from the age of 11. And since then, it has been very much a part of my life to keep myself embraced with whatever is happening in the world, all over the world, whichever way I can. But I've seen the rise and fall of empires. I've seen the rise and fall of democracies. I've seen the rise and fall of communism. I've seen the rise and fall of dictators. But what I've seen in Bangladesh uh, is something very disturbing. I think it's my view. Or correct me if I'm wrong. I think behind the facet of this quota movement, behind the screen of this student agitation, I think there was a very planned, uh, con- con- absolutely, completely drawn in a piece of paper plan to actually kill few birds in one stone, in the sense that mm, it is the fall of the Awami government, uh, but not only the fall of our milling government, there was, I think, pre-planned reincarnation of anti-liberation war agenda, because it seems that whatever the execution that took place immediately after the fall of Sheikh Hasina, uh, this was all pre-planned, and it was like a military operation. Which group of student is responsible of what job? Who will go where? What they will do? what are the munitions that they need, what are the equipments that they need, and just to obliterate the sacrifices of the people, the 7.5 crore people of Bangladesh in 1971. Look, the important bit is Bengalis wanted democracy before the 25th of March of 1971. All we wanted was a power sharing government. But instead, giving us a power sharing government to the winning political party who won the majority of the seats in the Pakistan assembly, they cracked down upon us with a genocide, with rapes, and finding no other alternatives. The Bengali up and down the country, 7.5 crore Bengalis rose to the occasion to dislodge the enemy and make an independent country.
Right.
Now, the ocean of blood that our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers have poured at the altar of our independence is, I think, one of the greatest of all liberation war since 17th century till the 21st century anywhere the world has seen. But it's really, really, it pains me to the core that in the name of this student agitation, I yet don't know who are behind it. I have no idea because I don't live in Bangladesh and I only see what I see, but I don't really dig deep into it. But the prima facie information that I have, the impression that I have, this was an event, this was an anarchy, this was a pre planned storming of the Bastille, what happened in 1794, 1799 during the French Revolution, and the Versailles Palace was obliterated and ruined. The people were killed, butchered, guillotines and all of that.
Right.
So Bangladesh has seen another French Revolution, but it was not a mass participation. It was literally, categorically a try to actually wipe the memories and the sacrifices to make our country an independent country. I mean, this is really painful that, as you know, that my family has poured enough blood. We have sacrificed our lives. We have lived in a refugee camp for 9 months without a proper meal, and since then we are still carrying the legacy of pain. The the every time I utter the word Bangladesh, my heart bleeds. But to see that these indigenous students born, bred in Bangladesh, looked after by Bangladesh, educated by Bangladesh, now they don't want to keep the memories of those brave hearts who laid their life for the cause of a Bangladesh, to give it to the present generation, a country. And this is something very painful. And I'm sure history will not forgive them, because no matter how much cost you want to put on it, it looks like that the revolution, so-called revolution, is crumbling and falling into its own face. It is actually getting
Regarding
bogged
this,
down.
sir, I had a question. Like, as you know, I'm from India, so we harbor and we strongly, very strongly believe to keep our memories of 1947, our independence, and all the efforts of our independence, like regarding 1857 as well, very strongly and very much alive and preserved. This is what we Indians do. Now, coming to Bangladesh, all the statues and murals of their own history, these were destroyed by, what I can say, by Bangladeshis themselves, not by any other people. So, what is the difference in this kind of a mindset? I mean, mindset that people are trying to wipe out their own history despite being taught about them, maybe in their, what I can say, books or history classes, something like that, because that happens in every country. So why are students picking up, what I can say, as I saw, hammers and everything to destroy anything, even like pulling down those statues by tractors? I think, yeah. So this is something very, what I can say, surprising and shocking. So what is the mind behind this?
Well, I think the mind behind is, how do I put it in a simple word? I think uh, those who were defeated in 1971 Liberation War or run up to the Liberation War, it is the reincarnation of those defeated forces to take a center stage, using the quota as an excuse. But behind that, there was a different agenda for them to reestablish themselves. Look, no matter what or how this has happened, the victim are the people like my family and others who laid their life for the cause of Bangladesh. Now, after 54 years, it's really, really, it hurts me every time I look at those pictures. Um, it was up and down the country, millions of people who fought. It is not one political party. It is not one group of people. It
Right.
was up and down the country, any millions of normal working people, peasants, the students, the workers in the factory, the day laborers, the rickshaw pullers, the soldiers of East Pakistan Rifles, East Bengal Regiment, and other various organizations who served in the Pakistan Army and the police force, and of course the students in millions. Now, this is a collective sacrifice of the people of East Pakistan vis-a-vis Bangladesh. Now, it is painful to see that the descendants of those freedom fighters joining hands with perhaps the defeated groups and trying to literally uproot all the relics, all the memories, all the statues, all the insignias, and all the monuments of 1971, the catastrophic genocide, the rapes, and the annihilation and butchering of people. I think these people need to sit down and reflect upon what they have done. But this is my impression, is my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was a vested quarter behind all of this, who were running this operation, sitting somewhere, and the anarchy, the anarchy that is going on in Bangladesh. I mean,
Right now,
imagine.
I think there is constant looting going on. Uh, I don't know about much about minorities. I do hear that they are not safe, but mostly it's looting, constant crimes, and political parties, many of them trying to push their own agendas, and the interim government, what I can say, struggling with the present flood situation as well, and a lot of hate mongering against India, as far as I can see. So,
Uh, Yeah, but bear in mind, behind all of these agendas, in my mind, there are two things that strikes me strongly: is the anarchy is going on. There is protest everywhere, Even the people of uniform are protesting. The police force has disintegrated into pieces.
Police force is almost, yeah, it's disintegrated.
Police forces have disintegrated. Now the students who are protesting, I don't know what kind of students they are. I need to. I don't live in Bangladesh, but I think people need to check what kind of students they are, because I have been a student in Bangladesh, but I never had the audacity to go and challenge the head of my institution to resign and apologize and cry in front of the student, pressurized by the students. Just imagine what the students are citing as an example. Tomorrow, this student will be looking for jobs. They will be in jobs. Some of them will turn into politicians. Some of them will turn into businessmen. Some of them will be unemployed. Some of them will become very rich. They will be captains of industry. But what they have got to say of their caricature and the legacy they are leaving, getting themselves embroiled into this thuggery. I mean, this is, if you want to sack someone, sack them quietly. If you don't want to keep someone, respect them and honorably ask them to go, not to humiliate a teacher in public and in camera. I mean, what is the world looking at Bangladesh? What is the world thinking of Bangladesh? In the name of what? Now, you are literally, okay, I'm not a fan of Sheikh Hasina, or I'm not a politician, I'm not a supporter of Awami League. I've got nothing to do with it. But what I'm saying is, you students, you today's students is tomorrow's responsible fathers. You
Right.
are going to run this society. You are going to run this country. And the examples that you are citing is not something to be proud of. And people will, in hindsight, retrospectively, will cast doubt about their aptitude and about the quality of country that they are going to give it to the next generations, i.e., our descendants. I'm really worried. It's not a very good sight.
It
And
isn't.
so it's not a good sight. But I don't see any fusion is going to come out of it, as if Bangladesh has done a French Revolution and Bangladesh will prosper thereafter. I doubt it. Not in the hands of this new band of thugs. What they're doing is thuggery. Simple as that. Do not try to whitewash what you are doing, and do not try to put a cotton wool, rub it on our eyes, and to say everything is going honky dory in Bangladesh. It's not. People are in fear. People are in fear. The shopkeepers don't want to open their shop. The answer don't want to go to work. The police are not ready to come back to work. The teachers scared of their life. The students are scared. There are political parties who were out of the scene for a long time, has embroiled themselves in capturing places, various institutions, various buildings, various shops. I mean, this is a
And prices
complete
are high. I mean, prices of daily commodities are so high. Right now it's
yes, it
rising.
is. I mean, look, prices and commodities and everything will be high because we have a porous border with India. It is not feasible, it is not sensible to have a cantankerous relation with India because Bangladesh is a very small country. We have a lot of mouth to feed.
Right.
We don't have enough arable lands. Our lands are getting squeezed and squeezed because of the urbanization.
Right.
So we don't have the land to produce the food and other vegetables and everything to feed those 160, 70, maybe 180 million mouths. Now, we have to be dependent because if a crop is not producing the yield that it's supposed to produce, then there will be shortage in the market. Now, if there is a shortage in the market, obviously India will help us, or it will smuggle through, or whichever means. I'm not promoting any unscrupulous trade, but I'm saying in a legitimate trade, we have to bring like green chilies, onions, rice, beef, all of that from India. So we cannot really sustain the food crisis with our own resources. Now, to import it from other countries, far-flung countries, it is not financially feasible. So I'm positive that the defeated force of 1971 has been aided by the country who was defeated, i.e., the Pakistan, the ISI. So look, Bangladesh ought to choose their own governance, how they want to be governed. But we, as the son of freedom fighters, as someone from the families of the freedom fighters who laid their life, we are not political freedom fighters. We are freedom fighters from up and down the country, like any other freedom fighters. We are not politically motivated. We want a Bangladesh where everybody lives and thrives and prospers. Now, we always had a problem. We had dictators. We had
Military
non
governments as well.
military governments. We had democratic government turned into autocratic government. So it is a matter for the country to really ascertain as to how we ought to be governed and what are the modalities, what are the systems that the people will decide. But to my mind, look, the whole world, wherever you go, you will see monuments from the antiquity. If you go to Rome, you will find the Romans architecture, Roman monuments, Roman statues. It's all over the place. If you go to France, you will find everything. If you go to UK, you will find the anthropology is studied through the relics of the past, what your ancestors have done. So if we are constantly, just because it doesn't suit your agenda, it doesn't suit your political perspectives, that doesn't mean that you will go and damage those. It hurts, it pains. We poured so much of blood. We are non-political people. We are not beneficiary of this beneficiary by using the 1971 liberation war. We only sacrificed our life, and we cherish this sacrifice. We want to flourish. We tell people how we have achieved this country, what magnitude the ocean of blood the people of Bangladesh had to pour for independence. The people who don't know what is to be in a country where you don't have your say, you can't vote, and now they have the right and audacity to go and obliterate the gains of the last 54 years. It is a beggar's belief, and I'm really, really disturbed. And I'm, as I said, I'm not a politician in Bangladesh. It's Bangladesh to decide how they run. My perspective is only on the historical aspects of it and the anthropological aspect of it. And of course, I have an issue with anything to do with 1971, right? In 1971, it was not a political party.
It wasn't.
No, it was the up and down the country, everybody, every human being who lived and born in Bangladesh, whether they lived.
Children. I think children picked up arms to fight
Yes,
Pakistan army.
children, yeah. So every this was a collective effort to have this country as an independent country, and now, okay, fine. I'm not a big fan of what has happened, but then again, this 15 years of 15 years of running the government by one political party, despite all the dichotomies and differences and kerfuffles, but the country has progressed like nobody's business. I mean, we are one of the largest. I mean, I think the highest garment, biggest garment exporter in the in the world. The cities and the towns are thriving. People has employment. People has tasted the a bit of a luxury in their life
Yeah.
once for all. So, are we going back to the different kind of lifestyle? Are we dragging the country to the hilt? Are we really stopping this monumental growth? Are we? I mean, we have been when the rest of the world was growing negatively. I mean, their growth was minus at the time. the country Bangladesh was growing in excess of 6.5%, and that's almost a year-on-year growth for the last 10 years. So you can blame everything and anything, but the signs and symptoms, the insignias are there in front of your eyes. If you go to Dhaka, I mean, the things that have taken place over the last 15 years is nobody's.
I think when
I
I
mean,
went to Dhaka in 2022, I saw that the INR to BDT, that 100 Bangladeshi taka was about 88 Indian rupees, and right now I think it has dropped to 71 or 70, something like that.
I don't know. Yeah, but it is bad. So
It is bad.
look, whatever the reason, whatever the cause, whatever the outcome, but to my mind, nothing fruitful is going to come out of this, because there is a hidden agenda behind all of it, and the hidden agenda is to victimize those who have sacrificed their life for the country, and it is those defeated forces of 1971 are coming with vengeance to actually take a revenge. I don't know who they want to take the revenge on, but end of the day, we are all Bangladeshis. We have forgiven you. We have become integrated society. Let us live and thrive. Let us not have this vivid and very concocted ideology at the back of your mind to obliterate and drag the country to the hilt. And those days of poverty up and down the country are going to reign in if we don't really fix the boat straight away, and don't please have this mindset of, you know, disgracing everybody up and down the country, the teachers, the professors, the doctors, the administrators, the MPs, the government employees, public sector employees, businessmen. You need everyone to be on your side. You cannot pick and choose. By the time you start nitpicking, there will be just simply a skin of a goat, but there will be no fur in it. So let's not do something which might hurt us in the future. And life is not full of dreams and roses. You have to work hard in order for you to achieve something, and you need to work in cohesion. You need to work in, I mean, unity. Unified work will prosper the country. So now, democracy or people's representation, and of course the jawabdihita, means everybody has to be answerable to the people. That is something we need, but not going around and disgracing people, slapping people in the street. How does it look? Bangladesh students are running the country, they are managing the traffic. Who is going to study? They're asking for auto promotion. Why?
And these are just not college students, sir. What I noticed, there are many school students in their uniforms.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
who's going to
so,
study?
so
Exactly.
don't, if you have sacrificed for the country, go back to your school, go back to your college, go back to university, finish your education and exams, go and sit for the exams. Don't ask for an auto promotion, because that is not a good example for our future generations to have. You need to cite an example, and leadership is something that you need to lead your people from the front with the maximum magnitude of honesty, sincerity of purpose, and duty.
Absolutely.
That's very important. So I'm not sure. I'm not. I'm not pragmatic about the outcome or the direction that the country is taking or heading towards.
Could you tell a bit about, sir, the present situation in Bangladesh, which might, like on ground, if you have any idea of or knowledge about it?
No, I don't have much knowledge. I mean, I don't talk to anyone. I just read and augment and I analyze. But it looks like everybody is there to have a bite on the cherry, right? The sweet cherry. Now, the political parties want election. the interim government wants to reform, and how these two are going to sit side by side is something to observe and watch, because those who are ousted from the government, they will come back, right? Those who are out of government for a long time, they are running out of their patience. So they want to immediately grab the power and perhaps do better or worse. I don't know. Time will say. Uh, then the interim government has an agenda. Maybe they are backed by foreign powers.
Right.
Foreign powers, you know, everybody want to have a little bit of Bangladesh, because Bangladesh sits in a geopolitical
Very
map
important place,
where
strategic
it is
location.
it is a it is an important place. Uh, the rise of China in the Indian Ocean and South China Sea and Malacca Strait is a worry for America. Uh, the chicken neck and Chinese incursion through that, it's a worry for India, right? Then destabilizing the Seven Sisters, which can be a very worrying issue for India. But if Bangladesh at the door footstep of India and China allows a the Quad that has been built by America, quadruple alliance, if they have a base in Bangladesh, I don't know where, but I don't see there could be a base. Like Subic Bay base in Philippines, it went for ages. There were other bases in Philippines. There was one in Thailand, I think, if I'm not wrong. So there could be one, but um, how conducive that will be is something to watch and see. But then I think in the past, the government who was in power, they have failed to gaze. I think the various agencies were too busy protecting their own interest. Therefore, they took the eye off the ball, and the ball started rolling and has literally blasted with the biggest explosive and ousted and obliterated the status quo. Therefore, there is a looming threat for the region. There's a looming economic threat for the world, because the growth of China's navy and Chinese army is a headache for rest of the world. China might have a bone to pick with Korea and Japan, you know. So if that happens, then the world will get bogged down there, because the example is Ukraine. I mean, imagine the whole of Europe, whole of EU has failed to dislodge the Russians from Ukraine.
Right.
So Russia will flex its muscle more into other Eastern European countries like Poland and other countries. You never know, Finland. And it looks though that the world, the NATO is very weak. God forbids if Trump wins, then he will cut NATO into sizes. Uh, but then I have hope of Kamala Harris coming and winning, because bear in mind, I don't have a personal relation with Kamala Harris, but I am kind of indebted to her ancestor, because when I was a refugee in Bangladesh, in India in 1971, her maternal grandfather, Mr. Gopalan, was a Joint Secretary of Indian Civil Service, I think, if I'm not wrong, and he
Right.
was given the responsibility to do the relief and rehabilitation for all the Bangladeshi East Pakistani refugees that poured into India in 1971. And I'll tell you something, I did not know about it. I came to know in the last few years that her grandfather has done a fantastic job. We owe a great deal of gratitude, because the places that the refugees were living in 1971 in Tripura, where I was, It was the most remotest part of Tripura. There was no roads. There was no. It's a hilly region, and there was no way the trucks and lorries and bull carts could go and reach out to those relief camps, with the refugee camps, to give food, ration, and shelter. And he has done a fantastic job. And according to the history, Mr. Gopalan was again sent to Namibia or somewhere where there was a famine in those days in 1973-74. He worked there and he did a fantastic job. So if Kamala Harris wins, things could be better. But if Mr. Trump comes back, NATO will be in problem. Therefore, there's a big threat looming in Europe, and also vis-a-vis, there will be a lot of flexing of muscles will happen in other part of the world, i.e., the Pakistan subcontinent. Now, so bear in mind, if you look at the radios, televisions, and newspaper, this country who was defeated shamefully in 1971. I mean, the biggest surrender in the history of the world, 93,000 surrendering, right? And yet, they haven't learned any lesson. They are jumping up and down as if Bangladesh is again reunited with Pakistan.
Trying to make
I mean,
another East Pakistan, I
so
guess.
they are probably behind all of it, right? They have used some political interlocutor in Bangladesh. China could be involved in it. America could be involved in it. It was nothing. I mean, look, my friends, I have Hindu friends in Bangladesh. They're phoning me to say, what can we do? Can we move to another country? And I said, I really don't know, but they are not feeling safe.
They're not feeling safe.
So, my idea is, I think the proximity with the immediate past government, of course, there's a historical relation. There was a proximity with India and Bangladesh, and the friendship of India Bangladesh is unavoidable. Anybody who would govern Bangladesh, they have no choice but to have a very cohesive relation with India. Otherwise, it's difficult. So this revolution, to my mind, the prima facie impression that I get, it was two things. One is to oust India from Bangladesh, and second is make Bangladesh a 100% Muslim country where all the minorities will be pushed out, like the Christian, the Hindus, the Buddhists, all of them, they'll be wiped out or they will be sent abroad, so that it becomes a 100% Muslim country. And how good that will be, I think it's a matter of judgment. We have to wait and see. But as a whole, I mean, nowhere in the world, any country thrived having a aggressive relation with their neighbor. No chance. No chance.
Right.
No country has thrived.
Not even Pakistan.
Pakistan is not a country. It's just put together. You can see what is happening. I mean, they are begging for World Bank when World Bank is not sure to give them money. But yet again, they are prospering with the armies, moving, they're controlling the country. So I don't know where they're getting the money from. But the situation there is very bad. I feel for the people of Pakistan. There are people crying in silence. They don't have a voice. But the country doesn't seem to have no respect for their own people. Now, how can you consider them to be the right kind of apparatus to rule their own country? I don't understand how it's happening. But had they been quiet and kept themselves to themselves, that's their business. But they interfere with everyone else. It is their business they are clapping, they are jumping up and down the country, that the pro-liberation government and the liberation relics of 1971 has been obliterated, and they are like so happy. There's like an exuberance of happiness, and I mean, they can't just express themselves how happy they are that the relics and the monuments of all the things that relates to 1971 shameful surrender is obliterated. So there must be some hidden agenda behind it. I'm sure in the world of politics, no cloud move without some instigation from somebody or some vested quarter. With that, I would like to say goodbye for today.
Before leaving, sir, I have just one question for you, and this is coming back to 1971. If you could talk a bit about your family's role in the sacrifices for the 1971 war and liberation of Bangladesh, sir. And it's an honor to talk to the son of a freedom fighter, the brother of a freedom fighter. So, and explaining everything in details that maybe a lot of people won't understand or don't know. So, if you could talk about your family's part in the war, sir.
Okay. Like many other families like ours have sacrificed for Bangladesh. We are not only the exception. Since I'm here, let me explain. My father was serving in East Pakistan Rifle, and my father was the first company commander of a regular body of troops who revolted first in the whole of the Sylhet region on the 27th of March 1971 at in between 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. So that's a very proud thing for me. I cherish it full to the brim. I'm so proud that my father had the guts, had the audacity, had the courage to take his troops to revolt for the first time in the whole of the present Sylhet division. So it's something to be very proud of. Uh, then my father fought till the 16th of December, 17th of December, capturing Sylhet back through Khadimnagar with Echo Force of Brigadier Wadekar and 5 Gorkha and 87 or 97 BSF
BSF was
with
there
the
with them, right?
fourth sector of Bangladesh forces. They captured through Khadimnagar from coming from Jokiganj to Darbast to Hemu to Haripur, and they had a massive battle in Idgah in Chikangula, and then captured Khadimnagar,
On the northern part of Sylhet.
northern part of the Sylhet, which comes from Assam, Tripura, from Dauki and Silong Road, Dhaka, Sylhet Silong Road through
Right,
that.
right.
Uh, and my father was one of the few Bengali freedom fighters, soldiers, and officer who witnessed the surrender in Shalotikor in Sylhet on the
Shaltikar
17th of,
airfield. Right.
yeah, airfield. So, and then we were living in Brahmanbaria at the time. My mother was a teacher in a school there, and we fled Brahmanbaria on the 17th of April after the bombardment. I saw myself the revolution, then the revolt of the 4 East Bengal Regiment in Brahmanbaria. And then on the 17th of April, there was air raid. 4 Sabot jets of Pakistan Air Force bombarded the town for 42 minutes. And after that, it was rumored that the Pakistan army is enveloping the town from 2 ends of Brahmanbaria, one from Akhaura, one from Bhairab Bajar through the railway line. So we fled, and we fled. It was the biggest exodus, one of the longest march, living in destitution inside Bangladesh for 17, 18 days. And then we poured into the shores of India through Tripura, and we finally lived in a Hindu family in a village for a few days, and they were so magnanimous, so magnanimous. I mean, I owe my life to them. I was only 11 years old, but I still remember every single day, every single hour, every single moment, how I felt and what I went through. What was the magnitude of my hunger, my starvation. I did not have a proper meal in a single day of that 9 months of my life, and it was the most hardest days of my life. So after living with that family, we moved into a refugee camp, which was near Agartala, Surjo Moninagar Special Camp. We lived there, and as a 11-year-old in the camp, we formed a cultural team by the seniors of the camp, and we went around to various freedom fighters youth clubs where the training for the training the Mukti Yuddhas were indoctrinated and then sent to the training. So we went to youth camps, we went to Malagor, we went to Motinagar, we went to Gokulnagar, we went to Bisrampur, Bishalgor, and various other places with our troop of cultural team, myself, my sister, my friend who is my course mate in the army, who was my course mate, is the course mate in the army, Major Ashish Mujumdar, and his brother Shamal Mujumdar, and then one of them was the immediate ex law minister of Bangladesh, Anisur Rahman, and his younger brother Ronnie Ariful Haq. We used to live in the same camp, so we went all that, and then there was a newspaper published called Joy Bangla. So myself and Arif and Shomor, who used to distribute the newspaper to the people of India, the Indian citizens, and amongst the various refugees and refugee camps. And then final stage, we used to distribute those newspapers in Agartala town center, where Akhaura Road and Agartala main town center meets. So it's a huge place. It's like Chorongi. So we used to distribute that Joy Bangla newspaper, and from there, the hundreds and thousands of freedom fighters were coming back to Agartala, wounded in the battlefields of all the way to Savrum, to Belunia, to Shaldanodi, to Motinagar, the Chandapur, Koshba, and Akhaura. The freedom fighters were pouring the biggest battlefields. From Mondobag to Akhaura was the biggest battlefield. Not Shaldanodi to Akhaura, the guns of Navarons, it never stopped. It was the most horrifying time of my life. I hardly could sleep a single night properly because of the fear. I was always thinking any moment the Pakistan army would walk into our refugee camp and they will kill me or kill us or rape my mother or sister in front of my eyes. And that was something which kept me awake all night. So anyway, when the final phase of the freedom fight was happening, a lot of freedom fighters were coming back to Agartala GB Hospital, which had a ward called Joy Bangla ward. So myself and others from our refugee camp, we used to go to Joy Bangla ward in the GB hospital, and we used to be the helpers to the nurses to get waters, feed them medicine, take them to the toilet. Now, I was only 11 years old, but I did whatever I could. But in the meanwhile, what happened was our eldest brother, who was only 17-year-old, so he joined the freedom fight as a guerrilla Mukti Yoddha, and he was trained in a place near Bishalgor called Ampinagar. And after 2 years of training, he was sent inside to Nobinagar subdivision of Brahmanbaria, Nobinagar Thana of Brahmanbaria, to act as a guerrilla fighter there. So him and his group were captured by Pakistan Army on the 10th of November 1971, and they were brought to Brahmanbaria, and they were kept in the Brahmanbaria jail and tortured for 10 days. And on the 21st of November, which was the Eid al-Fitr day of 1971, that day they were taken out of the jail, and 10 of them were killed and left the body on a bank of a canal and a river. It's called Portola. There's a Bhomi there, killing field, and they left his body there, and it rotted and it got mingled with the soil of Bengal, and hence the land is so precious to me. Hence, every time I utter the word Bangladesh, my heart bleeds. So yeah, that is it's nothing exceptional. Like many million families, we are one of those families who has poured blood at the independence of Bangladesh. Therefore, it is very, very precious to us And we are non-political people. We don't do politics. We just want Bangladesh to thrive, stand tall in the world society with a lot of, respect. And we want the people and the future generations to pay homage to those brave hearts who laid their life for the cause
Sacrifice
of.
so much.
Yes. So we don't want our future generations to go and obliterate those monuments, those memories of 1971. Don't do that, because today you have a country and you are fighting for quota, because the country has only come because my father, my brother, and many other brothers and many other fathers and daughters have fought to achieve a country for you guys to live, breathe, and thrive, not to have anarchy, not to obliterate the status quo, not to break, and not to really take those monuments away from the future generations of the Bengalis to watch and see and view and learn what kind of past they had and how this country came into fruition, how we achieved an independent country for the Bengalis. That is, the Bengalis are the third largest ethnic race in the world, and this is the only place which is a home for the Bengalis. Thank you.
It's a pleasure and an honor to talk to you, sir. And like as always, I salute you for you and your father especially, and your elder brother, for what you have done for Bangladesh. And I hope the people of Bangladesh understand this, and I hope it thrives and gets to a better place instead of where it is right now. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
I hope so too. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Debu. It's really an honor and a pleasure, because our spaces are being squeezed. A lot of people wants to know about our history. It's not about my history. It's the history of Bangladesh. This is very
Yes.
important. Thank you.